Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished panel members, and delegates, friends. Actually, the theme of our today's session is role of IP in farming strategies for pharma industries. Let me go to our topic of discussion today. Section 3D of Indian Patents Act is compatible for strategic innovation and orphan drugs. This is something peculiar. Either whether it has a compatibility to the today's theme, that is a question. The answer is simple, either yes or no. So before I conclude whether it is yes or no, we would like to start the journey from basic fundamentals of life to untouched areas of innovation. I have a few questions to share with you. My question is, what is the ambition of an engineer, ambition of a doctor, ambition of a scientist, ambition of a pharmacist? When we question this, the final goal okay, I have some more questions to share with you. Why we all came together, why we are here. So the ultimate goal of all of us to increase the expectancy in our life, human life. That is again through health. So as a pharma is a major player or playing a big role in providing the health. Here you see in the title, we have section 3D, which is only Indian Patent Act. But there is another word here is orphan drug. How you can relate orphan drug to section 3D, especially for Indian pharma industries, towards the exports? That is the question to answer. And before that, we would like to analyze section 3D. Before come to the conclusion of the section 3D towards Orphan Drug Act, we need to analyze what is the section 3D, particularly for innovation side of the orphan drugs. When I say orphan drugs, this is the viewpoint is towards US Orphan Drug Act. Because as in India, we don't have an Orphan Drug Act as of now. But like in Singapore, European Union, yes, they have some regulations to regulate these orphan drugs. Orphan drug is a drug used to treat rare disease. So I'm not going into details of this because we have a father of Indian Organization of Rare Diseases, Dr. Ramaya Mutyala is here. So you can hear more from him regarding what is rare disease. The term rare disease, that this term is telling us the rare, it itself is a rare. That means it affects only in a less group of population. So again, the country to country, the definition varies. The orphan drug definition varies. Similarly, when you see the population also, country defined the population, whether it is 5 in 10,000, that is in USA, 5 in 10,000, again Europe, and again in Japan and in Singapore, again the number varies. That is again subject to their national legislations. Now, I am Krishnaji, General Manager, Divis Laboratories. Our moderator asked me when I sent a mail to her, she asked me how pharma companies conceive ideas towards innovations. This was the fundamental question. And again, here when I say orphan drugs, again it is to treat rare diseases. Again, the main seeding of any innovation is the problem. We have 7,000 rare diseases approximately. Maybe Dr. Ramaya may be able to tell the better figure, but 7,000 to 8,000. How many drugs we have? Especially for example, if you take a US context, we have only 300 to 400 drugs. That means not even 1/10 of the drugs available towards to treat the rare diseases. That means I'll say like this. Problem and necessity is the mother of invention. Let us say invention can be, when it is commercialized, it becomes innovation. Then second, economic factors. How economics? We are all intelligent people. Why I say we want to learn from others' failures and others' success. So the economics, whenever there is a positive economics, yes, that drives the pharma industry to focus. And when there is a problem, yes, these are the major ideas towards the innovations. When I say drugs, we have in pharma industry two types. Again, normal drugs and orphan drugs. As we just had a little introduction about orphan drugs and rare diseases. It is a small segment. How such a small segment can reward in terms of revenues? When you compare the normal drugs versus orphan drugs, exact figures are not exactly known, but business analysts, now they are applying the simulation studies, and they confirmed that working on orphan drugs is much more advantageous than working on normal drugs. This is the fact. How? What are the driving forces to concentrate on innovation on orphan drugs? Let us start our journey from here. Again, the question is, we need to answer, how can low patient population result in greater profitability in comparison to normal drugs? The answer is, yes, there are some driving forces. Government financial incentives. This is US, as per US legislation, there are some financial incentives provided to the innovators. Again, being a small number group got affected, it's so smaller clinical trials, you don't need to run big clinical trials as in compared to normal drugs. Then short clinical trial time. Then higher rate of regulatory success. So, targeting the innovation on orphan drugs development to treat rare diseases is a potential strategy for pharma and biopharma R&Ds. I hope you agree with that. Now let us see a little deep about what are the drivers for innovation on orphan drugs. I have divided them into two drivers, that is R&D related drivers. Secondly, commercial related drivers. In R&D related drivers, we have R&D grants are available, waived FDA fees, short development timelines, and greater regulatory success. Because anyway, handling small is always easy than handling a huge. When you go to commercial related drivers, we have premium pricing because the price is too high. So there is a lot of reward one in economic terms. Then faster uptake, no need of going for marketing trials, all those things, no need to spend money in marketing because the patients are readily available. And low marketing costs, then longer exclusivity. Exclusivity, again, it varies to countries. So 7 years exclusivity, that is a quite good period. Then lower hurdles to approval. Then favorable reimbursement. Then finally tax credits. These are the drivers for innovation on orphan drugs. When I talk about orphan drugs, we are talking about US context, but how Indian Section 3D related to this? As morning Dr. Bhujangarao said that the context is also applied here. Let me go a little deeper of that. In business perspective, what are the potential strategies for Indian pharma R&Ds or innovation centers, CROs, contract research organizations? We need to answer this question. We have, in my opinion, two strategies. The strategy number one, I call it as a tiger strategy. What is this tiger? It's not there in the business, books of business or business sciences. Then second strategy, I call it as the eagle strategy. Again, this is not there in the management sciences. So tiger strategy is a simple strategy, just a logic. If you think a goat is a small innovation company and tiger is a multinational, this is an example. Multinational company is a giant multinational company. It watches to capture the goat. That is again, here who get benefited, you just see. When goat eaten by the tiger, finally what is resulted is a tiger. What it means? Goat is disappeared. It is there in the body of tiger. A common logic. Goat killed. That is what common man thinks. Goat lost life. But in business perspective, goat enjoys the legacy of a tiger because it became a part of a tiger. I'll go to the legal strategy at the end of the session. So I'll concentrate on the tiger strategy, how the pharma company, especially in reference to orphan drugs or rare diseases, how are the things. We just go a little more about that. So the law governing any innovation on drugs is Section 3D. There are other things also there, but here I am not going into any details of Section 3D. My only focus is enhancement of the known efficacy. What is this enhancement of known efficacy? Again, its viewpoint changes is debatable, and it's before that. Before we come to what is our Indian interpretation with reference to Orphan Drug Act, so we would like to take few examples for sake of comparison and come back to us. So when you say India Section 3D with reference to Orphan Drug Act, just keep in mind the therapeutic efficacy part. Because the efficacy enhancement is only therapeutic efficacy. Just that is the only thing you keep in mind. Now, let us deal with Orphan Drug Act. How Orphan Drug Act is related to Section 3D, or how Section 3D is related to Orphan Drug Act. Let us see. Let us take a few examples. Small molecules. You have, for example, salicylic acid. If you take a approved orphan drug, salicylic acid, which is a hydroxybenzoic acid. For a scientist, we have two options here. That is, either you derivatize hydroxy group or derivatize carboxyl group. So, suppose if you derivatize one of the groups and convert it to acetyl salicylic acid, which is aspirin, if the approved drug salicylic acid is less effective, or the drug B, that is second drug, is more effective in terms of therapeutic efficacy, we call that as a clinically superior, that is US designated term as a clinically superior. Then the second drug gets approval for orphan, designated orphan drug. That is approval to get as an orphan drug. So it should be clinically superior to drug A or a parent drug of same kind for the same treatment. Second example, macromolecules, let us say peptides. Again, here whatever amino acid chain you whatever amino acid, the sequence you change, but if the effect of the second drug is better than the first one, then that is in terms of clinical superiority. If it is proven, then that second drug gets the approval for orphan, designated orphan drug status. That is this one. Then protein drugs, whatever the structure it is, whether it is a ternary structure, binary structure, or whatever the structure it is, whatever the amino acids you can see, if it is for the same treatment, with the same therapeutic category, then the second drug should be clinically superior to get a designated orphan drug status. Similarly, polysaccharides. Again, a lot of combinations are there. Dextrose, glucose, fructose, or arabinose. Whatever polysaccharide chain you make, if it is again, the second drug should have a better therapeutic effect, which is also like, in orphan drug status, they say it is clinically superior, then it get designated for this. Similarly, polynucleotides. So clinically superiority is a primary, the principal point to get it designated for the orphan drug. Here, how we are going to relate our Section 3D with Orphan Drug Act. Section 3D, enhancement in efficacy. Here, enhancements in therapeutic effect. US FDA defined the clinical superior means it is significant therapeutic advantage has to be shown to get the orphan drug status, to get the designation as an orphan drug status. Here, that means number one point is it should be therapeutically effective. Number two, either it should reduce the side effects of the to get the designation. Number three, sometimes it is very unusual that if there is no, although it is not effective, but it should be able to manage that particular diseased condition. Under these three conditions, one can get the orphan drug. Here in Indian context, the therapeutic efficacy and US context of orphan drug clinical superiority both are, in my opinion, they are similar.
Dr. Rao, you have about a couple of minutes now. Already time up.
Pardon?
You have another 5 minutes.
Okay. Then, the last aspect of what I said is eagle strategy. Here, when you see the eagle flies above the clouds when it rains. So, that means your eagle avoids the problems. An Indian pharma company should, this is the high time, should think that the innovation working within the cloud of Section 3D is no more. You will be rejected. Work something beyond Section 3D, like enjoy like an eagle. Then there is a very good opportunity, especially a area like innovation and orphan drugs. Here, I would like to thank GIPC for giving me opportunity, especially Dr. D.R. Agarwal and the organizers, other organizing committee, for giving me opportunity to stand before you and to deliver a talk. So, this was the quote by our former president, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam: all birds find shelter during a rain, but eagle avoids rain by flying above the clouds. Problems are common, but attitude makes the difference. This is the high time to change our attitude, Indian pharma companies, to look into different areas which are not touched till now. Thank you very much for listening.